Good evening, card chargers, and welcome back to another episode of the Cincinnati Kids Vintage Baseball Cards channel. Been back only a couple of days from vacation, and vacation took me out of the country for more than a week, and I am glad to be back. It's been a little while since I put out a video, so I've tried to catch up on everyone's videos and still woefully behind. So I am in the process of doing that too. I'm enjoying seeing others' content out there. I wanted to give a shout out to a couple of non-content subscribers of mine that have been around for some time, and I wanted to show my appreciation for them. Sometimes a lot of non-content creators on YouTube don't get maybe the love that they should for especially investing the time to watch our stuff, and I'm very appreciative of them watching. These two in particular watch my videos. If I miss someone, I'm sorry, but these two in particular stuck out to me. Yaz Fan, calling out Yaz Fan here. Shout out Yaz Fan, not calling out, it's not the Wild West. So Yaz Fan, thank you so much for watching, commenting always on my videos. It's just really nice to have you here. And then Lynn Cruz, want to give a shout out to Lynn Cruz, that channel. They also very much from almost the beginning have been following my channel as a subscriber and making nice comments and watching videos, and I just really want to give them some appreciation, and hopefully maybe someday they'll do content of their own. Also want to thank some new subs that have joined the channel recently, and it would be Thunderbird and Brandon Jensen. Thank you so much. And there's been some others recently. Sorry if I didn't mention your name here. It does not mean I don't appreciate you. Try to rectify that in the future if that bothers you. Anyway, it's good to be back again and ready to share some cards with you. So we're going to do my April pickups first. Not a lot, just a couple I want to share, and the second card will segue into what I've got for you tonight. So here is Mr. Jimmy Stewart. I want to do a non-playing days and non-baseball icon that is in a classic iconic baseball looking card set. This is from the 2009 Topps Heritage. Jimmy Stewart in his United States Army Air Corps uniform. He actually transferred over to the Air Force when it became the Air Force in 1947, and he stayed in the Air Force Reserves to the rank of Brigadier General, all while filming a lot of movies. In particular, he's my favorite actor probably all time, and I have lots of his movies in my DVD collection, and really huge fan, and I love the 60 Topps design. So this was a very inexpensive, nice addition for a non-playing days card. The other pickup was this card. Let's zoom back in or out. There we go. Maybe up a bit. There we go. Okay, so this is my first 1954 Bowman card, and it is of Hall of Famer Al Red Schoendienst. And this card is just phenomenal to me. I just think it's just incredibly sharp for a 4. The image here on the camera just doesn't, the image of it, it's not done justice on the camera. It looks like an oil painting in person, and I know 54 Bowman, here's the back, are a little bit underrated, but it's beautifully packaged in this PSA, very slight sleeve. It's not too bad on the reflection, I don't think. Inside the casing here. Red Sherndeen's played for most of his career for the Cardinals, and also he played for the Braves. He was a pretty good fielder and not a bad hitter. His first season he seemed to try to steal more bases, and then he decided to focus on his hitting a little more in future years. What's interesting about him, and maybe what put him in the Hall of Fame, was his managerial career. And this is going to be the lead-in to my next several cards here I'm going to share with you. He was manager of the Cardinals from, the mid-60s. He certainly was the manager for the 67 and 68 World Series, and I think he was in the 69, maybe 70 season, and then he left the Cardinals, but came back in the early 80s as a bench coach. So he has a lot of his life, several decades of baseball, is dedicated to the St. Louis Cardinals, and Cardinals fans out there can definitely correct me in comments in the comments below of my error on his history there, but I believe a legendary player manager type. And the connection's going to be here a bit with these cards. We'll see what we got here, so we'll move on from that. We've got Lou Brock. So he managed Lou Brock. So these cards are all of players from a particular era, particular season of the Cardinals that Red managed the Cardinals. Lou Brock, of course, we know all about him. Here's Baby Bull. Beautiful 66 tops of Orlando Cepeda. Still with the Giants here, but he came over to the Cardinals, I think, the following season. And then I'll just move on here. Now this card was one I've had for some time, and I'll give you more of a close-up for it. Just one of my favorites. It's Tim McCarver's rookie card. That pose, probably that's at Wrigley Field. The backstop looks like it might be Wrigley down the sideline. Not the backstop, but down the sideline, kind of where the bullpen was, and so forth. So Tim McCarver also was a great catcher for the Philadelphia Phillies, and later in his career, I think he primarily caught for Steve Carlton, and when Carlton went to the Phillies, Tim went with him. But just the youthful look of him in this rookie card, and just the catcher pose there. One of my favorite cards with the background like that. Just screams vintage, old school. He was also a broadcaster for several years on, I think, mostly CBS, and then maybe he did a little ESPN later in his career as the color analyst for, he would be the opposite of, I think, I can't remember, Jack Buck's son. His first name escapes me at the moment, but that was the guy he was usually paired up with, and they made a good team. But I thought Tim was pretty good in some of the comments he would make during game, which I got to think that being a color guy in baseball is really tough. It's a tough gig. Here's the back of the card. Oh, it's upside down. Here we go. He wasn't known as being a really big-time hitter, but he was a decent all-around catcher and was prominent on the reveal of what all this is for. Most people probably guess it. And so this will be the giveaway. Here is Al Kaline. We all know about Al Kaline, but he's one of my favorites in the hobby to collect. I love the 71 tops here. He's got that bat extended like he's coming through a swing. I love the palm trees in the background, the bright blue sky. Probably it's spring training, would be my guess. Decent card for the Tough 71 set. That's probably going to give it away that this is part of the giveaway is that this is the 68, showing some players that played against each other in the 68 World Series. And I've got Willie Horton, 65 tops. Really like this card too. Always loved the 65 design. Willie Horton was a really talented player, could really hit. Great outfielder too, in there with Mr. Kaline this season. And he went on to play at the Tigers for several years into the 70s. There's a nice blue back on that. Here is one of the anchors in the middle of the infield, Dick Tracewski, which was, he was a stalwart on that 68 Tigers team too, with Northrup and Norm Cash at first base. He was, maybe Tracewski was playing third base at this point. I can't recall now. But anyhow, he was integral in this series. But I'm talking about a particular game in this World Series. So the series went 7 games, and in my opinion was, to me, I go back and watch reruns of this game all the time. It might be one of my favorite World Series games to watch as far as excitement goes. And to me, it was the end of the golden era, just in my opinion, end of the golden era of baseball. The next season, a lot of reason because of this guy, one of the greatest of all time. His magical season that year of the incredibly low 1.12 ERA, I think he almost single-handedly drove the league to, and maybe Denny McLain too, for the Tigers, to lower the mound 6 inches, insert the DH to the American League, and split the division, each league into divisions. And baseball was never the same after that. It did give a couple more teams a chance to make the playoffs, I get that. But the classic feel, the classic era, this season would be extended as a result of that, and those moves. It just wasn't the same. This was the end of an era. But the man of the hour, even though he had such a great regular season, Mr. Gibson went down to defeat this gentleman. In Game 7 of the 1968 World Series. Mickey Lilich pitched the entire game. I think, I've watched it so many times and yet I can't remember that. But I've always loved this beautiful card here, 67 tops, much better than the 68. He's still really youthful here in this image. Ricky is a 64, but he really was an incredibly talented left-handed pitcher, just kind of a bulldog out there, just wouldn't give in. Extremely tough. Went into Game 7 in St. Louis, and the Tigers prevailed. He went on to go for a pretty good major league career. He had over 200 wins and a career WAR. I think his career WAR is above 50. Go check that. So he's borderline, if not, should be maybe a Hall of Famer. He should be under consideration. Obviously can't take everybody in that's in that category. I kind of put him in that Vada Pinson category a bit. He did move around to a lot of teams, particularly his later career. He pitched also for the Padres in particular. But Mickey was a tough pitcher and always loved lefty pitchers. But he won 3 games in that World Series. Denny McLain was struggling. I think he was supposed to go in Game 7, and legend has it that he just couldn't. And so Lolich pitched on short rest to a day's short rest to go with, or maybe it was just the manager's decision to go with him. But Lolich pitched on short rest to have, to go 3 games in that series. So yeah, I really wish I could have watched those games in person, alive, at that time. But anyway, this video's rambled on long enough, and this is all I've got for you tonight. So thank you all so very much for watching. Appreciate you all very much. It's good to be back, and I will see you in the next video. But until then, remember, collect when you can, but always be curating your collection.